Imagine retiring in a country where the weather is perfect year-round.
Coming from the Midwest, we were tired of 30 below zero.
The cost of living is a fraction of the US.
We're able to live on my Social Security income alone.
And you can live openly as your true self.
Ecuador was the first country in South America to have gay marriage.
That's exactly what Mike did when he left Iowa with his husband for Cuenca, Ecuador.
We're impressed with the quality of life, the people that we met.
Let's find out why.
Cuenca, I believe, was 11th in the world for healthcare.
Let's do it. Welcome back to the channel. This is Living Abroad with Eric, formerly Generic Expats. I have a cool new guest that is going to be telling us a bit about why he moved to where he moved to now, which is where we are, and a little bit about the place that he's living in. So let's go ahead and get to know him. Well, what is your name, sir?
My name is Mike Triggs.
Mike, and you are a fellow Midwestern man, is that right?
I am. I moved from Iowa this past April.
Okay, and you're originally from Iowa, and you lived also?
I've lived kind of all over the United States.
Yeah.
I've we moved back to Iowa. I had aging parents, and we're in Iowa for the last 10 years.
Great. And where are we now?
We're in Cuenca, Ecuador.
Right, and this is a very popular place for people to move down from all parts of the world, especially America. Lots of Americans are thinking, I want to leave the United States, and I want to go somewhere that's beautiful, good weather, nice people, low cost of living. And let's talk a little bit about that and about how you ended up coming here. So how exactly did you end up moving to Cuenca?
Well, we visited here 2 years ago. My husband has a cousin that lives here, and he's been here for about 6 years. And so we came and visited. We loved the climate, the people, the food. Everything about it was something we were looking for.
Awesome. Did you do any other trips checking out other places before Ecuador?
Well, we knew that we were wanting to retire, and we looked at Spain and Portugal and Central America. This was really the first place that we really seriously looked at, and we just loved it.
Well, it's good that the place that you first went to is checked all the boxes, because some people take years and years and years to find it. And if you're comfortable with this place, that's fantastic, right? Right.
And coming from the Midwest, we were tired of 30 below zero and the winter and summers where it was 90 degrees with 100% humidity.
Right. So,
and here you have basically 65, 70 degrees all year round.
Right, exactly. So people that are trying to avoid the extremes that us Midwesterners had to deal with our entire lives, the negative 40 and the positive 40 in Celsius.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not happening here. We're talking mid 40s to mid 70s every day. So,
every day.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We're in low 70s right now because the sun didn't come out, but overall it goes up to sometimes 78, 79. Yesterday it was sunny, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I had a good time driving around my bike and stuff. So tell me a bit more about living here in Cuenca, because you chose Cuenca because of this contact, right? But when you came down here, what were the things that impressed you about coming to Cuenca?
Well, we were particularly impressed. It was a very safe community. We've very low crime rate, and we were impressed with the quality of life and the people that we met. It was just
checked all those boxes.
All
right?
the boxes.
But talking about crime and safety a bit more, because actually Ecuador has been kind of renowned to be a less safe place, especially compared to the past. And how do you feel about that? Like, you came here in 2021 first?
Right.
Or 2022, right. And you came back again now. Did you notice a difference?
We didn't really notice a difference here. We're high in the Andes, about the elevation of living in Aspen or Vail, and we're about 3 hours from the Guayaquil, which is the largest city in Ecuador. There's more crime on the coast, but very little here in Cuenca.
So you've never really felt or had any problems with crime?
Absolutely no problems at all. I've walked my dog at 10 o'clock at night, and I don't feel at all unsafe.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, safety is a huge issue for people moving anywhere. You definitely want to move to a safe place. And yeah, Cuenca is considered to be the most safe city, I would say. I haven't heard of any cities that are safer, maybe smaller cities that, like Loja, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. But let's talk a bit more about something else that is a very big topic for people looking to move abroad, is cost of living. So I'm sure one of the reasons you loved being here was the fact that the cost of living is so great, and it's very affordable to be healthy and have a good life here, right?
It's very affordable, and both housing and transportation. We don't have a car here. I'm over 65, so I can take a bus for 15 cents a ride, the light rail for 17 cents.
So let's talk a bit more about that specifically, and then we'll get to the benefits after. Okay. So let's talk about cost of living. The main things that people usually consider when they're budgeting is it's accommodation, it's food, it's transportation, and maybe entertainment. So what do you spend first on accommodation, if you don't mind talking about that?
Well, our accommodations are probably more than most expats pay. My husband wanted a lot of the benefits that we had when we lived in the United States. And so we pay more. We pay about $1,300 a month for rent,
Sure.
Where the average person probably pays maybe $700-800.
Sure. So you wanted a bit more of a luxurious type of place.
We live in probably one of the nicest residences in Cuenca, but we've got a great view, 2 patios, and sauna, steam, whirlpool. So
you only live once, right, Mike?
Absolutely.
You only live once. Why not spend the money?
And we're paying at least half of what we paid in the United States for rent, and we have no costs for heat or for air conditioning.
That's all included.
Well, we have no heat or air conditioning. There's really no reason for it.
So your accommodation doesn't include the energy and water and stuff?
The only thing we pay is for our electric, and that usually runs about $30 a month.
Okay. How about generators? Because right now we're going through an energy crisis. Does your building have a generator?
Our building does have a generator. We're on the 5th floor, and the generator comes on when the power goes off, and it's about a 20 seconds inconvenience for us before the power goes back on.
Do you have to pay extra for the gas or for the fuel?
Actually, we do not. It was we pay the $1,300 on set per month.
Okay, great. Because I've talked to some people, like in Manta, for example, Don Shader, who has a channel in Manta, and he pays extra for the fuel that they use to power the generators.
Right.
So that's good to hear. I mean, if you don't have the extra expense, that's good. So you have about $1,300 per month, $1,330 with electricity. Let's talk about food then. How much do you guys, on average, pay for food?
Oh gosh, it's way less than the United States. I can go to the Mercado and get a bag of fruits and vegetables, and maybe I'll spend $1.80 and have a big bag of produce. We're not eating as much meat as we did in the United States because the produce is so available and so reasonable.
Very high quality.
We maybe go out to dinner once a week.
Oh, it's not very much.
At most, we would spend for the 2 of us $20 going out to dinner at a very nice restaurant.
$20.
Yeah,
$10 each.
$10 each.
And that includes the food and drinks and everything.
Yep.
Wow. So that's obviously unthinkable in the United States.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's an awesome benefit. So let's say you have your $20 per week in the restaurant, and then for groceries, for food per month. So what would be the monthly expense for that?
Oh gosh, I'm
a couple hundred, do you think?
Probably a couple hundred.
Maybe 200 or so.
Right.
Because just with your restaurants is maybe 80, and then another 100 or 150 for the rest.
Right. No, I retired with about $2,400 a month in my Social Security income, and we're able to live on my Social Security income alone.
Right.
And
that's a huge surprise,
benefit.
Right? To people, they wouldn't expect two people to live on one, right?
Right.
And if you live frugally, you could fit 3, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So definitely doable here.
Right.
You mentioned a little bit about transportation, so let's talk about that. You take the bus and tranvia and that stuff. How much does that cost?
The bus is 15 cents if you're over 65. The tramvia is 17 cents.
Ooh,
Taxis,
big difference right there.
yes, big difference. And then the taxis run usually about $1.50, usually under $2 for taxi.
Yeah,
So
within the city, small
within the
distance.
city, we have no car payments, no insurance, no gas, no maintenance on the cars, and so we're saving a lot of money on transportation.
Right. So another big issue is the affordability of healthcare.
Right.
You've only been here for how many months is it?
Oh, about 7 months.
So you're
now.
kind of a fresh new person
Sure.
in the country. Have you had any times when you've gone to the doctor yet?
I have gone to the doctor. I had a case of bronchitis when I first got here. We went to the doctor. It was a $50 fee to see the doctor. He gave me a prescription for some medication. So that's essentially it. I have an issue with some kidney stones that I've had. So I had an MRI that was done recently. I think the MRI was $300. And it would have probably been 10 times that in the United States.
So these are all prices without insurance,
without
right?
insurance. Now, we do have insurance, but on the case of my kidney stones, that was considered a pre-existing condition. So they did not cover that.
Gotcha. There seems to be a lot of options for good healthcare. This is actually a medical tourism hub.
It is.
Ecuador, Cuenca specifically.
Right. In fact, Cuenca, there was a international rating, and Cuenca, I believe, was 11th in the world for healthcare. And it was higher than any other city in North or South America.
Wow, imagine that. Huh?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's really good news
Right.
for people that are worried about any health issues. You don't have to fly back to the US. I mean, some people have insurance that they have to have their surgery or they have to have that done in the US. Is that
Sure.
right? Do you think it's cheaper to do it here, pay in
Oh, definitely.
cash?
I think it's probably cheaper to pay it in cash than to
go back to the US
go back
and
and have it
done
insurance
with
paid.
insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we do have a hospital that's about 3 blocks from where I live. That's associated with Mount Sinai hospitals in New York and California, and it's the hospital I'd want to go to if I've had surgery.
Okay, what's the name of that one?
Montesinos.
Montesini, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, keep that in mind, guys, if you're interested in high quality, good services at the hospitals in Cuenca specifically.
Now, my family used to go to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and we always said that we would go to the Mayo Clinic for hangnails. But the quality of care that we've received and friends have received here is equal to what they've received at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester.
That's a big statement. So
Yes.
my grandparents went to the Mayo, of course. I'm from Minnesota, and that's in Rochester.
Right.
Right. So one of the best hospitals in the world.
Right.
And you're comparing some of the hospitals here to that. Well, that's good news for anyone worried about having anything done here. Let's focus on the benefits of being here as a senior, because you mentioned there's a couple benefits and discounts. So let's go over the discounts that you know about when you're here. You mentioned transportation, right?
In transportation, yeah, I can fly back to the United States or go to Europe, and it's 50% off for my international travel. And that's quite a savings. And the nice thing about that is if you're living abroad and you want to be able to stay in contact with your grandkids or your family and friends in the United States, and that makes it possible to go back without being quite so expensive.
I'm about to make a video about living in Ecuador, pros and cons, right? And you know, Ecuador is amazing for a lot of reasons, but one of the negatives for me in my list is the prices of flights.
Right.
Because Quito is not a very big airport.
Right.
You know, Colombia, El Dorado, and then we have Lima, but they're far away. So actually flying without a discount is kind of expensive, but when you have your discount, it makes everything way better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's much better. And then in addition to those flights, the government of Ecuador puts a high emphasis on the arts. And I can go to the symphony or to the ballet here in Cuenca, and it's totally free. Ooh. Which is
that's only for seniors as well.
Actually, it's for everyone.
For everyone.
Everyone.
Okay.
So you see a good mix of Ecuadorians and expats that at the cultural events.
Fantastic.
And there's always events that are going along on right along the Tamabamba River where we're sitting.
River behind us.
And so it seems like every month there's something going on. Yeah.
So clearly being able to get around within the country and outside the country, transportation is a great benefit for seniors. Are there some other benefits that seniors have, for example, at supermarkets?
Well, it's supermarkets and also in banks. They have special lanes for seniors. Okay. And I've found that virtually anywhere you go, if you're doing business in a large shopping a store or a mall or a grocery store, there'll be someone that speaks English if you don't speak Spanish or your Spanish is limited.
Okay. So there are people that are generally there to help you when
yes.
you're not able to communicate too well.
Absolutely.
And would you suggest anything for people considering coming down to Latin America before they come? Should they do anything?
Well, one of the things that we did last October, I started Duolingo lessons. And so I had a pretty good vocabulary. Every night I would study on Duolingo for about 20 minutes, just religiously every night. And so once I got down here, I had a pretty good vocabulary. But once I got here, I felt like that I needed just some additional help for conversational Spanish. And so I hired a young man to be my Spanish teacher. We have classes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Fridays, we usually go out on a field trip and go to museums or parks, and I practice my Spanish while I'm out.
Shout out to you, Mateo, great Spanish teacher.
Yes,
so Mike, was there another factor that brought you down to live here in Ecuador specifically?
Well, one of the things that we liked about Ecuador was that they were particularly gay friendly. And for us, that was important coming from the United States. And Ecuador actually was the first country in South America to have domestic partnerships, and then also the first to have gay marriage approved. And so that was important for us to have our marriage that we had in the United States recognized. Rick and I have been together for 25 years, and we've been married since 2015.
So I was curious about that because Latin America in general isn't famous for being super accepting to all the different types of groups of people. And you said that there's a lot of a really good community here. Is that right?
Absolutely. We've found we have many friends that are gays and lesbians. We go to a church, an Episcopal church here in Cuenca that has about a quarter of its members are gays and lesbians. And last year at the Gay Pride Parade here in Cuenca, they were the only church to march in the Gay Pride Parade, which was nice for us. We also have groups that gays and lesbians that get together to go to the spa at Baños or to play or go bowling at times, and then bi-weekly we get together for a happy hour, and once a month there's a LGBT brunch that we go to. And so we found a real welcoming community. And what's interesting about the difference between here and in the United States, it really doesn't matter. Nobody cares what you drive, what job you had, or how much money you have. Everybody just seems to get along really well. And there just isn't the cattiness that you experienced back in the States.
Yeah, when you're stateside, it's all about who you are is what you do.
Right.
Whereas here, who you are is a human, and everyone respects you as a human for just existing and being near you.
And that's what's so important.
That's an important thing, is to feel comfortable about who your community is and if they support you and if you can interact with them. And it seems like for you guys, it's a fantastic spot for you.
Right. Now, and we felt particularly safe here. We don't maybe have the outwardly displays of affection that we might. We don't walk hand in hand, but for the most part, we felt very safe being openly gay here in Cuenca.
Well, it's really good information to know for anyone interested in going to a place in Latin America. It seems like Cuenca, for particular groups, is going to be one of the best spots to find a good community here. I think Mike's given us a lot of things to consider, a lot of good information. I want to say thank you so much
Thank
for
you, Eric.
coming to tell us about living here, and you're probably planning to spend here quite a while, is right?
I'm actually hoping to spend the rest of my life here.
There you go. Well, you're on your way there. You got your 6 months down, maybe two more years, 10 more years, a million more years left, right?
Well, my grandmother lived to be 104, so I could have 34 years left.
Fantastic. Well, guys, if you're enjoying talks with Mike and talks with people that are living here in Cuenca, and you're enjoying these loud planes, we are currently right next to a massive airport with many flights, and that is something that you have to consider about Cuenca and living in this area. There's going to be some flights. So if you're enjoying any chats with people like Mike and people that are living here from America that have moved down, go ahead and check out some of these other videos that I have about that. Hasta la próxima.